Yes, that's right. It's Joe here live for Joyrider TV, back with some more Q&A. Oh yes, you bring the questions, I will be here with the answers. Yeah, if you haven't tuned into one of these Q&A sessions before, the way that it works is it is a live Q&A. So I will be responding to any questions that anybody asks in the live chat. Live, said live enough times now. But if you are not able to be here when it's live, so if you're watching later on, then do feel free to leave a question in the comments section, and I will to your question in the next Q&A session, which would be the following Friday. There we go. That's how it works. Just like to say hello to Leland Lee in Clearwater, Florida, taking line honors there in the live chat, and followed by Young Aviators. Hello, greetings and welcome. And Has Racing on board. Good to have you with us. So yeah, no key topic in today's Q&A session, so I thought I would just whilst waiting for a scintillating question to come in, I would just fill you in on what is cooking over here on the Greek island. I'd like to say hello to William Westerfeld. Yes, quite a timely greeting there, Will. Good to have you with us. In fact, all of the Hawaiians are tuning in. Ryan's with us as well. But it was actually Will who is responsible for the whole series of Show Us Your Cat. Yeah, so back in the day, I don't know what year it was, must have been about 2018, something like that. Will sent me some pictures of his boat in Hawaii, and they looked so good that I thought the Joyrider TV global community needed to see them. So I got in touch with Will and I said, is that okay if we show your boat to the world? So episode 1 of Show Us Your Cat is just Will's. After that, other people started sending in pictures of their, and that is how the series Show Us Your Cat has evolved. And the reason that I say it's quite timely is because I have been spending all of today and yesterday putting together the next episode of Show Us Your Cat, which will be, it will be out at the normal time, that's 6:30 Greek time on Sunday. Yes, very exciting. If you're a channel member, I'll probably have it uploaded so you can watch it in advance. When would that be? Tomorrow morning Greek time. So it's one of the perks of being a channel member is you do get to see the videos as soon as they're uploaded, and you don't have to wait for the release time. Yeah, so this week's Show Us Your Cat, very exciting. And what I'm also looking to revive now that I'm deep in the thick of the Greek island winter is the What Went Wrong series as well. So if you do happen to have on your hard drive or wherever you keep your clips, if you do have any video footage of a mishap, something going wrong while you were sailing your boat, or perhaps in the boat park, you know, we haven't had any boat park disasters yet in What Went Wrong. So yeah, send them in. If you could chop them down to a like a 2-minute kind of length, that would be great. Send them in. And then on the What Went Wrong series, what I generally do, and Ryan, who's in the live chat in Maui, he's probably the most prolific featured sailor in the What Went Wrong series. It's all about Hawaii today, and with a lot of big crashes. But if you're going to make an omelette, you've got to break a few eggs. Yeah, so the What Went Wrong series as well, continuing this winter as it is where I am anyway. Also, in this weekend, Sunday's Show Us Your Cat, episode 140, we are having another competition. Yes, it's actually the second biggest competition of the year on Joyrider TV. So do make sure you check out that video and get involved with the competition. It's really worth getting involved. Oh yes. All right. So yeah, we got Tony KP in Ebeltoft, Denmark on board. Hello, Tony KP. Great to have you with us. And Spicy Fist is on board. And yeah, Spicy Fist is Mr. Spicy Fist, to anyone else, is going to be featured in the next episode of What Went Wrong. I have been sitting on some footage of some very entertaining mishaps on the boat. Does the Lazarus slip in the boat park count as a What Went Wrong? Yeah, I remember it well. It was yeah, I think it would have been featured in What Went Wrong, although it was already in the edit for Show Us Your Cat. So I think most times you can own it's one or the other, really, isn't it? You can't have both. But yeah, that was quality. So yeah, next episode of What Went Wrong coming up. What else is cooking? All right. This is a good question. All right, first question of the day from Young Aviators. Where do I send you a video of my dad's crash for What Went Wrong? Okay, so what you want to do for Show Us Your Cat or What Went Wrong is send me any clips or photos or anything to totaljoyrider@icloud.com. You'll find the details in any of the video descriptions from any episodes of Show Us Your Cat or What Went Wrong. And if the clips are too big to email, which generally they are, then I use I find the most straightforward is there's a website called wetransfer.com where you can basically send a file up to 2 gig at a time. And that is a very straightforward and easy way of transferring footage around the world, as long as the clips aren't bigger than 2 gigabytes. But it is fairly straightforward to chop clips down. So if your clip is like 8 gigabyte monster, you can chop it down and then send it. That would be great. If you are sending in any photographs or video, then do include, like for What Went Wrong, you don't need quite as much information. What we need is who it was who was sailing the boat, so the names of the sailors, the location of the where it happened, and what else, and anything else that you feel would add to the story. There we go. Hopefully nobody had to go to hospital on any of these occasions. So there we go. That is what you need to do. So it's basically you guys, the Joyrider TV global community, who keep this sort of thing going. So get involved, and then these series will continue. There we are. And I think the way that I'm going to do it is, as soon as I've got enough content, make an episode, then I'll make an episode. And both of these videos I'll always make sure I put them out on a Sunday, because I think it's a nice way to it's a good bit of weekend viewing. That's what I think. Yeah, nice. All right, so Leland Lee says, any ideas for foam replacements that go in the pylons? Yeah, so interesting question. So on your Hobie 16, these bits that stick up here, so if this is the top of the hull, these bits where the other beams mount onto. These are called pylons, and what you'd have in the pylons as standard from the factory is it'd be filled with foam, and basically the way what happens inside the hull, if this is inside, is that will go down into the hull. Sorry, that is meant to be just a, so it's basically like a piece of rear beam section that's cut to a different length, and it's glued into the hull, and then on the bottom of the pylon is a massive, great big block, which is then attached to the, I believe it's attached to the sides of the hulls, or it might just be attached to the bulkheads, where there'd be a bulkhead there, and that would be where that block is attached. So inside this post, basically to stop the boat from leaking if you capsize, it is filled with quite a, what would you call it, quite a high density foam, which is the right shape for this tube, and then it's sealed around the top as well, at the top of the foam, to really make sure that that the water can't get inside, or it really struggle. And I think because we recently replaced a lot of mast bases at Wildwind in Vasiliki, Lefkos, Greece, the foam plugs which come for those bad boys are about, what would that be? Yeah, about 10 centimeters long. So like that long, the shape of the bottom of the mast, that long, and then you push it in, you put your sealant around the foam plug, and that seals it. And I would guess that this would be the same. Now, question where to get them from. I would basically, what I would do if I was in your situation is I would go for the I'd try to buy the original Hobie part for this if possible, because it is important to stop your boat from leaking, to have a very good fit there. So I would go from the Hobie website. You can go to Dealer Network, or Find a Dealer, I think it's called. And there's a map of the world. You zoom into your area of the map, which for you, Lee, would be the whole of the USA, I would say. And then you could just start contacting the dealers who are on that page. That is what I would do as a first port of call. Second port of call would be to go down to your sort of hardware shop and see what they've got in the foam department, and then cut it to shape, shove it inside, get your sealant on there, making sure that it's foam that isn't going to absorb any moisture, because there might also be moisture getting to it from the inside of the hull. If there's water in the hull and you don't know what's going on down here, like if there's water in the hull and you capsize and it washes back up, or even if there's just a bit of water in the hull, you've left the boat with the bungs in, and then the inside of the hulls, this is actually one of the reasons why a lot of hulls go soft, is if you leave the hulls with water inside. So if they're not completely drained, and you leave it somewhere warm, even fairly warm, then the amount of humidity inside the hull, it's gonna, like, you're gonna have this sort of osmosis effect with that moisture getting into the fiberglass on the inside, and that could be what adds to the problem of the hulls going soft. But that would also get to your foam, and after a couple of years that foam might need replacing again. So to get some foam which is definitely sealed would be the go on that, I would say. There we go. That's what I reckon. What else do I reckon? Yeah, and part of the problem on like the boats which don't have hatches on them is there's no decent place for air to get in, because you've only got that tiny little bung hole at the back of the hull on a lot of boats, and that isn't much of a place for the boat to breathe. So if there is any water left in the boat, you are going to get this humidity inside the hull unless it's really pretty cold. And that is going to lead to soft hulls. So there we go. We've addressed soft hulls as well as this pylon question all in one. There we go. I bet you're glad you came. Thank you very much, Lee, for the question. All right, we've got Etan on board in NorCal. Is that local term for North California? Answers on a postcard. All right. So Ryan in Maui says, curious about the roto-molded GETAWAY hulls. I have one that's cracking pretty severely. I've tried G-Flex to fix it. Lasted for a little bit. Tried plastic welding. No dice. I'm thinking of replacing. Yeah. In my experience with the plastic boats, I've only had this problem with plastic mono hulls, like the Laser Pico back in the day. And after that, we had problem with the RS Cuba hulls for a while. And what it seems is once they've gone, it's, unless it really is in an area where it has no load at all, it's never gonna, there's, from my experience, it seemed that there's not actually a decent way to repair such things. Of course, if anybody out there knows a decent way to repair such things, this is part of the joy of the global Joyrider TV catamaran sailing community. So if anybody's got any ideas, stick it in the live chat or stick it in the comments, and then we will all be wiser. Well, it's about that time in the Greek islands anyway. Okay, Ryan says, I've got one for free in Florida, but that's half a world away. Yeah, I actually looked on the map because I'm considering now that you wouldn't believe it, but this week in Hawaii, Ryan from Maui, as we know him in the live chat, had a visit from Office Hands Dave. Oh yes, this is major news in the Joyrider TV global community. I think one of the things that I'm most sort of pleased with that we have built here between us is this global community. And I think Will in Hawaii had a lot to do with that, with the start of starting to Show Us Your Cat, because from Show Us Your Cat, What Went Wrong, the live Q&A, it's really built this community. So people have started visiting other cat sailors around, especially in the USA. It's really nice that people are getting out for a sail on other people's boats. And yeah, I think it's very cool. So well done to you guys. Okay, we got speaking of such meetings, Scott is dropping it in the slot. Hello, Scott. And he says hello to the Joyrider community. Very good. All right, young aviators, what is your email? Total Joyrider. I'll write in the live chat. Total Joy. Right. I'll try to spell it right. Rider. There we go. This is real interactive stuff. iCloud.com. Boom. There it is. Interactive TV here. Okay, so back to what is cooking. I'll just go back to what's cooking until another question comes in. Yeah, so one of the most exciting or big things for me that's happened, I think it was last week it started, but I've just released, launched, published, issued, made live my new website. Yeah, this is very exciting for me because it's been not a long time coming, but a little while coming, and I'd have to say I am very pleased with the results. I think it looks absolutely banging. Yeah, so what is, without you having to visit, by the way, the website's totaljoyrider.com. But the difference between this one and the old one is I've made more of an effort with the videos on the website. So the idea is going to be, so eventually it's going to take, because as you may know, I've made over 1,000 videos over the years, and my intention is to have it so that all of the worthwhile videos, and what I call worthwhile is any of the ones which have some good instructional points, and then perhaps some of the best, most entertaining ones as well, then I will file those on the website so they're really easy to find. So if, like, you wanted to know how long your spinnaker sheets should be on your Hobie Dragoon, you'd be able just to, it's a pretty poor example actually, you'd be able to go on the website, click on the spinnaker section, and then go down to Dragoon with the spinnaker. There it is. And you'd be waiting, does he mention how long the spinnaker sheets should be? No, he doesn't, not in that video. But that's the idea. So if you wanted to find a video on trapezing, you'd be able to go to the website and access the video through the website. I think that's a really nice thing to do, because on the actual YouTube channel, on YouTube, the organization of the videos isn't quite what it could be. I do put them in playlists, but it's not quite as good. So there we go. The other big deal for me on the website is I've really organized all of the Joyrider merchandise, which you know, I do have to sort of push the merchandise a little bit, because that is what pays the bills, especially these days, this time of year when the viewing figures really go down, and especially since I quit my job just to make videos. So there's not much revenue coming in from the actual videos themselves these days. So it really is the website and the merchandise which is helping to keep the food on the table. Yeah, but what I've done is I've made a collection of merchandise for each type of boat. The most what would you call it, the most common types of small catamaran that we talk about on Joyrider TV. So I think there's like about 15 different collections of merch, including the Hurricane 5.9, their Spicy Fist, in case you're wondering. Yeah, and including the Hobie Wave. You know, if your type of boat has not been featured there, let me know and I will do something about it. But it's all my own work. That's what I'd like to just say at this time. It's all my own work, and there you go. Not like these dodgy ones you see on Facebook. Crikey. All right, back to the live chat. Etan says, all right, I'm finally about to splash my Nacra 5.2 beginning of December. Do I have until the end of year to upload a speed stick entry? Yes, you do. This is one of the other big ones that's kept this Joyrider community going, is the speed stick, of course. Reservoir Sailing Club in Utah have started having a look at holding their own leaderboard, so then they can just upload that leaderboard perhaps a few times during the year to the global speed stick. So yeah, I think it's a really good way of measuring your progress and having another reason, another purpose when you're out on the water. All right, what we doing? We're just sailing around. We're just going backwards and forwards. Hold on, let's go and get GPS. All right, this is getting dangerous. But yeah, I think it's a really fun thing to do. So yes, the 24 speed stick will be running until, when would that be? I suppose I'll until the end of the year. But the end of the year for who? What if you were in Maui sailing in the evening of the 31st of December, where here in Greece it's already 2025? Tough one. We'll cross that bridge if we have to, but I would say yes, you're safe up until the 31st of December, and then on the 1st of January, in fact, I'm away at that time, and I think there would be so there'll be a bit of a cooling off period at the first week in January. So if you do want to get speed in for that speed stick, you can. And then, of course, the 2025 speed stick will be launching. Very good. All right, we got Frank on board. Good to have you on board. It says, is it Pinillas? County beaches are nearly 100% cleaned up since out 2 hurricanes. Crikey. Yeah. Yeah, quite a as it happens, been quite a lot of wind here. Nowhere near a hurricane, but quite a lot of wind. And yes, I did get out on the water this afternoon, but not on the catamaran, because the catamaran is sort of packed up. I went out on the kite, and it was a lot of fun. There we go. That's my personal update, captain's log. All right. Ryan says, I'm headed to Tampa in December for a number of days. Any sailing connections in Tampa or Gulfport? Would that be Gulfport, Mississippi, Ryan? Because that is very close to Ocean Springs, Mississippi, where there's a whole lot of like-minded individuals. I'm sure you could get a ride on something like a Nacra 20 or something in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. What a great place it is to go sailing as well. A lot of lobster pots, though. Frank says, and we have some mighty great winds about like every fall and every spring. Nice. All right. Got Paul on board. Do you have connection with the folks at Waterspeed? Yes, I do. I have a feature request for them. Okay, if Paul, if you send me an email, I put my email address, just a few comments up in the live chat, totaljoyrider@icloud.com. And then I'll put you in touch with the guys at Waterspeed, or I could pass on a message for you. Thanks very much. All right, we've got Casey on board. Hello, Casey. Quick question. My dad and I just bought our first Hobie Getaway. Great choice. Very nice boat. And what a lot of fun you are in for. We did ASA 101 first sailing class. I would guess that's the Australian Sailing Association. Any advice on getting started? All right. Wow. You say it's a quick question. This question could be pretty huge, in fact. How do you get started? The best way to get started, and in fact, one of the most important things in getting started, is not going out in too much wind too soon. Because what you don't want to do is go out in too much wind, and I would call too much wind above, certainly above 15 knots of wind. That's when you start to see the white on the top of the water, the white horses, what we call them. But basically, if there's enough wind so that you can feel the wind, but there's not white horses on the water, then that is the right sort of wind to be getting out for the first couple of times. And then what I would have to say, one of the best things to do is watch the beginner sailing videos on Joyrider TV. I think they're excellent. I've made I think I've made 5 now, all slightly different, but well worth a watch if you just put in beginner Hobie cat sailing into your YouTube search. It should bring up some really nice ones. I would certainly watch those. And the best thing to do is just get out there and do it. Try to, if you can, take the boat to a place where it's fairly uncomplicated, uncrowded for launching. So like if the place where you're launching from, you don't want, ideally, so if this is your bit of coastline and this is the main slipway, all right, ideally you don't want there in the area to be a load of moored boats, because immediately that means you're not going to have time to settle. You're going to have to do some pretty decent maneuvering. So if you have got a choice, an uncrowded bit of water in front of where you're launching, that would be perfect. Fairly light winds, very nice. And the other big consideration is don't go out the first time with winds anywhere between and here wrong. You're going to find it very difficult to get back. What we want is the wind with a bit of onshore in it. So anywhere from there all the way around, sorry, anywhere in this area we want the wind coming from, because that means if anything happens, like one of the worst things that could happen is the mast comes down. It can happen, but if you check the boat thoroughly, it shouldn't. But if the mast comes down, if the wind is anywhere in this radius, you're going to get blown back to the beach. I think that is a good safety feature. So it's kind of like your first times out on the boat. You really have to dial in the safety. And ideally, where you're going sailing, you don't want there to be too much current or tide as well. I know there's a lot of big asks here, but like a lake or reservoir can be the ideal place to get out for on your early sailing missions. You know, the other thing you don't want is where you're launching is to be launching out through some flipping Kelly Slater size swell, where there's people tucking into some sweet barrels just as you're sailing out. Yeah, because that is going to be a very difficult. So I hope that helps there, Casey. Got any other specific questions, do bang them in. But good luck with the getaway. Great choice. And it should start a very fun time for you. All right. So, all right, that's Gulfport in Florida where Ryan's going, not in Mississippi. Although I'm sure that's very nice too. Paul says for Tampa, reach out to the guys at Red Gear Racing. There we go. All right. So it's all in the Tampa Bay area. All right. Casey says, thanks for answering my quick question. Haha. Yes. All right. So Felix is on board. Who says, got an update with a survey from Waterspeed the other day for an upcoming Android version. They seem to be making good on their promise, tackling it in December. Felix has signed up for the beta version. I think the beta version with most things is kind of like the early version where people are kind of they might be getting it earlier than everywhere else, but they're getting it so that they can test it before it goes on the major release. So that really is good news, because I think so I was thinking the speed stick, my earlier thoughts before we did, if any of you saw the 6 weeks of speed competition, which was hosted on water speed, which, yes, I know it was kind of a little bit like, if you haven't got an iPhone, you can't do it. That was just, but it was kind of like a test, because I wanted to see if the water speed app would be a good place to host the global speed stick. And this is actually news just in. This is hot news. But I think no. I think it's better that we keep the speed stick going the way that we are doing it. The only thing I want to do differently with the speed stick or the things is, firstly, how it's presented on the website. That is one thing I haven't managed to do. So if you know about these things, do get in touch, because if you're looking at the website on the desktop or on your laptop, or probably even on an iPad or a tablet, it presents nicely. Whereas if you look at the speed stick on your phone, I can't believe that no one's even mentioned this to me. It really does look a mess, and you can't see where the people were sailing. And I'm not sure if you can see what speeds they did as well, which is kind of like the whole point. Yeah, so that is one thing I'd like to change with the speed stick. The other thing I'd like to change is, especially if water speed if their Android version is out by the new year, then to encourage everybody to use water speed, so everybody's using the same thing. And yes, you can connect it to a lot of GPS watches, but of course, if you've got your nice GPS watch and it doesn't connect to water speed, I'll still be accepting speeds in from different sources. But if there's a lot of people using the same app to log their speeds, it's just going to make the accuracy that little bit better, which I think that would be nice. I think that would be nice. Yes. So so there we go. That is my thoughts on the speed stick at this time. What else is in the hot news? What's cooking news? Yes, so this is news just in, which might be interesting more to anybody who's in Europe at the time. Oh, by the way, hello to Philip. Sorry, Philip, I kind of missed you back there in the live chat. Hello, Philip. I was just thinking I don't think there's a lot of people in the live chat who are in Europe. But if you're in Europe, in January, I'm going to be at Boot. How do you pronounce that? Is it pronounced boat or boot? Spelt boot, in Dusseldorf, Germany. It's the biggest boat show in the world. Yes, I was there this year as well. And I'm going to be there just on the weekdays, so I won't be there at the weekends. And I've been invited to be a special guest speaker on the main sailing stage at the Dusseldorf boat show, biggest boat show in the world. I think that's pretty good. I think I've done well there. Yeah, pleased with that. Yeah, so that's one for next year. Another one for next year, sort of jumping around a little bit, is at the end of October. I'm going to be at Hilton Head, USA. I think it's in North Carolina. Correct me if I'm wrong. For the regatta at the end of October next year. So get that one in your diary, and let's see if we can get over 100 boats to that event. That would be absolutely marvelous. It's a what would you call it? Like a general catamaran open meeting. So all different types of catamaran are invited, and it'll be divided into different classes depending on what it is that you are sailing. there we go. So that is one of the big engagements that I'm going to be hitting next year. And of course, the Dusseldorf Boat Show. Very good. All right. Etan says, right. All right. Any tips for practicing in tight areas? Oh, I've sailed several monohulls out of our channel, but worried the cat will be more difficult. It's roughly 40 meters wide, 600 meters long, and the wind blows straight through. So I tell you what, Etan, it does, this sort of sailing is going to make you a much better sailor than if you had it easy. That's for sure. So what we're talking, so if this is our channel that we have to sail out of, so maybe launching at the end here, wind blows straight through. So that, do you mean blowing straight down? If we talk about wind blowing straight down first, we can look at different wind directions afterwards. All right, so here we go. It's going to be a very good exercise in good tacking. So what I would do is, the wind is likely to have a little bit of bias one way or the other. So what we want to do is get out, so if it's got a tiny bit of bias from this side, we want to walk the boat as far as we can over to the opposite side, and that is going to give us the longest leg on this first tack. Yeah. If the wind is straight down, then we'll still do the same thing, because what we don't want to have to do is start off in the middle, sail off on port tack, and before we've even had a chance to put our rudders down, we're going to have to tack. So what we want to do is take the boat all the way to one side or the other, get off the beach, and basically what we're trying to achieve is to get our first tack in once we've got the rudders down. So that is the aim of the game here. So we'll get the rudders down, and I think the Nacra 5.2, that's got the dagger boards as well, I believe. So get the dagger boards down at least halfway, and then with this sort of tacking where you don't have much space, it really is all about the main sheet. Don't worry about getting the boat sailing fast. So what we're going to do is, when we're going into the tack, really cranking the main sheet in as hard as you possibly can until the boat goes head to wind, then releasing a load of main sheet, get onto the new side of the boat as quickly as you can, and then get it sailing, and just repeat that process. And doing these low speed tacks, I find it some of the most satisfying sailing you can do. Just this low speed tacks where even you could almost do it on the treadmill, just like this. And you could even, like, a good technique before the start of a race, or if you're trying not to go too far upwind, is you can do this kind of ferry gliding where you have your boat in the hove to position, perhaps the jib on the wrong side, mainsail all the way out, and you'll just basically drift across like this, and, you know, give it a little bit of time before you hit the side, then let the jib off so it flaps, or pull it in normally, then crank the main sheet in. Don't bother pulling the jib across, but as soon as the jib backs, let off loads of main sheet, get across the boat, and then drift across the other way. Very satisfying. So that is what I would say for this type maneuvering, is just practice this kind of ferry glide and then tack and glide back the other way. I think I did do a video on that quite a while back. This is probably the black hole of Joyrider TV on YouTube. Is there are videos that even I've forgotten that I made, and I think once I put them on the website, then they're certainly going to be easier to find. All right, hope that helps. All right, Phoenix says, congratulations, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm quite pleased about that. And I think the topic, what my new, what would you call it, mission statement is for Joyrider TV, as well as what goes on anyway, is I just want to encourage as much involvement in catamaran sailing globally as possible. I think that is what my goal is. And I'm in quite a privileged position now because I think I've got what you could call the ear of the catamaran sailing community, or a big part of the ear, maybe the earlobe of the catamaran sailing community. So I think I'm in a good position to use that position for good, not evil. And the good that I want to use it for is to get more people involved. So I'm going to put some talks together for the boat show in Germany, which are there to encourage people to get involved in catamaran sailing. There we go. All right. So Philip says, has anyone ever sleeved a boom? I have to take a Hobie 18 to Thailand. It's too long for the plane. I'm going to cut it and sleeve it. Yeah, I think 2 meters is the, or what is it? 2 meters 20 is the limit on a lot of airlines. I know this from getting out there with windsurfing kit, not Thailand, but traveling with it. Yeah, so I think, yes, I have sleeved booms and masts, bowsprits in the past. And the trick is always to find another section of aluminium, which is the perfect size to either go outside the existing extrusion. Yeah. Or if you can't get hold of anything that's the right side to go outside, then something that will go inside the extrusion. So like, there is actually, it's a horrific process, but with the single aluminium section Hobie masts, you can actually buy a 2-piece mast kit from Hobie Cat. And the first part of fitting this kit is you take your hacksaw and you cut your mast in half. Ouch. That is so painful. We have had to do it once because we were shipping a mast somewhere. And then basically it gives you an internal sleeve. So the internal sleeve is a good option. So you put the one half of the internal sleeve in, pop rivet that in, and then you have it so that the shorter piece is the piece that you slide out of that section for transporting. And you could do the same with the boom. So you just need to find the right section of extrusion that you can either external or internal sleeve. And I would just say use a lot longer sleeve than you think. So yeah, about that 40 centimeters long sleeve, that's a good length to do it. And if you want to make it yeah, for a boom, I'd say that would do it. That's what I would do. All right, so we got Hands on board in Germany. It says there's snow here. Crikey. Yeah, not snowing here in Vasiliki Lefkas, Greece just yet. In fact, it's pretty warm out on the water today, just in the very thin long john wetsuit, like it's 2 mil. and it was absolutely fine. So there we go. All right. So if there's no further questions, I'm just going to once again promote Show Us Your Cat on Sunday. Yes, tune in at 6:30 Greek time. If you don't know when that is, that's the same time when this went out today. 6:30 Greek time. I could do it as a premiere, which means there'll be live chat at that time. Yeah, so that's nice. Yeah, check out Show Us Your Cat on Sunday. Check out the total joyrider.com website if you are thinking of getting some like t-shirt, hoodie, hat, drinking vessel as a Christmas gift. Then do get in there sooner rather than later, because historically in December everything takes a lot longer. And I'm also Black Friday special, apparently that's today, doing customization for free. So if you want anything doing on a t-shirt or a hoodie, just let me know, send me an email, and I'll do the design and then send you the design so you can check it and make sure that you like it. And then you can order what you fancy, and then happy days are here again. So there we go. Hit the like button before you leave. Oh, thanks very much, Philip. Philip's in there with a super sticker. Makes me feel warm inside. Thank you. Yeah, so there we go. See you on Sunday for Show Us Your Cat. Have a good weekend. Hope some of you managed to get out on the water. Good luck to you all.